Hi, and welcome to the State of Soy. I'm Katie James, Public Relations Manager for the Iowa Soybean Association. This month, we're coming to you from our Board of Directors meeting and policy conference in Des Moines. This might be the off-season for growing soybeans, but the world of agriculture never rests. On this episode of the State of Soy, we'll travel to Mexico to see how the new trade agreement is impacting dairy farmers and why it matters to Iowans. We'll make a stop at the Iowa Land Investment Expo to get the latest on farmland values. And we'll hear from an Iowa farmer leading the way when it comes to conservation on the farm. And we'll show you how the Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver in 2020. And we begin today with words from Governor Kim Reynolds, a speaker right here at our ISA meetings. She addressed those in attendance with thoughts on how the new legislative session impacts agriculture. We had a chance to talk with Governor Reynolds about another very important year for Iowa farmers.
In the condition of the state, I said we should not just plan for 1 year, but we should look at the next decade, and I believe the Invest in Iowa does that. So it reduces income taxes, 10% across the board for all Iowans, 25% for a lot of lower income Iowans. It provides sustainable funding for our mental health system. It reduces property taxes by taking the funding off of the property taxpayers and moving it to the general fund. And probably the biggest legacy that the Invest in Iowa Act will have is it infuses significant funding into water quality, conservation, recreation, and quality of life. And I believe that's an investment that will help us recruit and retain the next generation of Iowans. I did the executive order for B20. We're excited to do that first in the nation to really help drive use and making sure that our state vehicles can use a B20. And what I'm loving about that is I've talked to Governor Noem, Governor Ricketts, Governor Parsons, and they're all looking at doing something similar in their state. So from a regional perspective, we can help drive domestic demand, which is critical for our farmers and our rural communities. So I'm excited about that. And now we have counties in Iowa. Dickinson County was the first where they're implementing that same structure for county-owned vehicles, so we can really scale this and I believe really start to make a difference for the industry. And in addition to that, then we have to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place. And so I'm putting an additional $2 million into the infrastructure fund. I think that makes it a total of $5 million. So that's another thing that we're doing to try to drive domestic demand. Good news at the federal level with the 5-year extension for the biodiesel tax credit. So that really starts to provide some predictability and stability. And we're going to continue to hold EPA accountable. It started with the Japan trade agreement, and that was a first phase also. So they're going to come back and continue to work on that. Finally, getting USMCA to the floor, across the line, and up to the president. Number 1, 2, and 3 trading partners, export markets for Iowa. So that's really important, not only for our farmers, but for manufacturing and small business owners. The Phase 1 China deal, I think, is a step in the right direction. Again, we need to, follow up. There's an enforcement piece of it this time, I think, that the administration feels really good about that maybe has been lacking in the past. So really a big deal, though, for our soybean farmers and our hog producers. There's opportunity there also for ethanol, hopefully maybe some biodiesel, DDGs. I love what I'm doing. I am so blessed to be serving in this capacity. I love this state. It is filled with just such amazing people. I mean, they make the job what it is. They're, especially with some of the challenges that we've faced over the last several years, they're tenacious, dedicated, grit like I've never seen it, resilience. I mean, the list goes on and on. I love going on trade missions with the members of the Iowa Soybean Association and looking for opportunities to find new markets and really maintain existing markets. But we're one big family. We're one big small community. Empower Rural Iowa is another initiative that I'm passionate about because I want to make sure that all of our rural communities are enjoying the prosperity that we're seeing take place in the state. So I feel like I'm with family. That's what it felt like when I walked into the room. I'm so appreciative of what they do every day.